Hey there guys, so let's get right into this one. Don't got too much time to mess around on this one. So it's going to be a video going over Longshot. So his dupe, you have a chance to nullify, and if you nullify Unstoppable or Unblockable, you steal the buff. He cannot have his ability accuracy modified, and he has 300% base. His good karma he gains when you dex, when you charge a heavy, and you lose some of your stunned and stuff, and you get your Pure of Heart when you get to 5, and you want Pure of Heart, it gives you a lot of extra abilities. But yeah, a big part for him is his ability accuracy, in my opinion. It plays with a lot of nodes. If you want to use them that way, you can. So then the probably biggest part of his kit is his bad karma. When consuming good karma with your heavy, you charge it, you hit them, it turns it into bad karma. The bad karma refreshes when they heavy or special, and it has a 12% power steal on your opponent. It doesn't reduce their power, but it gives you some of theirs, transferring it with heavies. The special one places some good karma, and it inflicts an instant bleed if you're Pure of Heart. His special 2 is what everyone knows him for. It nullifies, it puts the Fate Seal on, it puts the Incinerate, it turns every buff and bad karma into a pretty thick Incinerate, and if you're Pure of Heart, it triggers when you trigger the special attack and not if it makes contact with them. So there's some nice utility that you can use with that, like throwing it at their block maybe or something like that. His special one isn't used as much, but combined with his SP1 Incinerate, you can transfer over extra good karma into bad karma and get extra Incinerates during special 2. Special 3 is hardly ever used. It's use it once, enjoy the special, and move on. It gets a nice Fury bonus when you have Pure of Heart, but again, it's just not something you really use. The stun's not too useful. You just want to spam that SP2 and SP1 really. SP1 less so, SP2 is where it's mainly at. I wasn't using this synergy until halfway through making these. So when you use your special 2, you have a 42% chance to get double, basically, the incinerates that you get. And as I said, he has 300%, so the 300% plays into the 42%, making it a much, much higher chance of happening. And that was really the main synergy I would use for some of these. This one, the team wasn't anything special. There was no synergies in this team, really. It was just going into a quest. The fight before this was pretty boring anyway, honestly. It was just with Pyramid X. It's just longer. She has glancing. She also had energy resist, so it was just to kind of show that energy resist can play into his damage, but there's not too much. And so if you notice, this Proxima is from variant 6, I think, whichever the Mystic one is. I was checking if I was recording. So she has Energize here, and so the Energize gives her extra power gain, but if you notice how much power I gain when I hit her when she has the 4 bad karma. So that's from what I was talking about earlier with the power steal. You steal 12% of the power they gain per bad karma. So you get up to 60% power steal basically when you have a bad karma. And that's what I like to do to finish off a fight with Longshot, is you get back to your SP1, you transfer over a couple bad karma, you inflict an instant bleed, and it really melts them down. So this next one, I want to just kind of go over. This fight's just pretty simple, this next one. I skipped the mojo and stuff because it was just annoying to try to get him down. So this Magneto, it's a pretty basic fight. So with Longshot, you just want to charge heavy as long as you can. You can also do a counter heavy style. It doesn't work as well against someone like Magneto with unstoppable heavies, but you can very easily counter heavies with him. Longshot has a massive reach on his heavy. It's not really looked at that much, I feel like, but his heavy reach is actually very, very large, which you'll see in an upcoming fight. Again, this is just to show his damage in basic matchups. That's just a tag I got in the middle of a fight. Happens, Forgot to put on D&D. So this is what I was talking about. Because they have Energize, I was throwing some specials into their block to try to get certain fights down to see if I could manage it better. Because when it's into their block, they gain less power anyways. So it's a nice bit of utility to be able to throw it into their block and stuff, or if they're missing or evading or something. So a lot of people will say that Longshot can't do debuff immune, and I remember doing this fight back when it first came out with Longshot. So it's a debuff immune mighty charge fight. So again, heavy countering. You have to be able to heavy counter if you want to use him in a stun immune matchup. Stuns make him easier, but not required. So the bad karma isn't necessary, but I really like the bad karma, as I said, because it allows you to gain a lot more power. If you notice, after every hit, I gain power even on my specials. So I used the instant bleeds for this fight. This is what I did when I had to first clear it. Other people used, like, I think Claire or something like that, but I was using Longshot because I found it fun. So I have to get up my bad karma again. I get hit because I misspaced it, right? You have to get that spacing down. So I wanted Dex twice and then special intercept with it. And if you notice, each one of the instant bleeds does just under or just over 3k a bleed, and it's like 5 bleeds, I think. So it's like 10k per, which isn't the best damage, admittedly, but it's working pretty well for a variant boss that is not like the hardest boss ever, but it could be annoying if you're struggling with like the mighty charge and stuff. And I wanted to show that he can take debuffing me in matchups fairly easily. It's not the best matchup for him, clearly, right? His damage is definitely lower than it was in the Proxima fight and the Magneto fight, but this fight is not taking too long. I think it's like 1.5 to 2 minute fight, which isn't bad for a variant boss. The variants can have pretty high health and attack value sometimes. So yeah, I just really like Longshot as a champion overall. I think he first came out, had too much hype. I mistimed that one right there. The Pure of Heart fell off right as I launched it, which is pretty unlucky. When he came out, he had a little bit too much hype from a couple YouTubers, so people expected him to be this absolute monster, but he wasn't the highest utility champion then. But he doesn't have to have the most utility. He has a very simple kit, which I always enjoy, as I've stated. It's pretty simple to use him. There's nothing too fancy you have to do. So if any of you recognize this quest, this is the 6.4.1 Iceman chapter. So this path has Do You Bleed on it. This was partially as a test for myself because I've never actually tried it. So Longshot works for Do You Bleed. Kind of similar to the Captain Marvel fight. I ended up cutting around half this fight out because it's like a 3-minute fight and I just didn't want to have to show all of it. It's just long, that's all. So it's just a lot of keeping up my Pure of Heart. I get clapped a couple times because, I don't know, I just wasn't playing well, I guess, something like that. So it's like 2,400 per tick of those, and it's like 5k, or not 5k, like 5 or something. It takes off 6%, 7% per time I throw my special ones, so that's definitely not bad. It's not the best counter for Do You Bleed, but again, it's a piece of utility he does have. I wish that it counted for the bleed vulnerability, where like everyone after the first one did the 200% damage. It'd be pretty nice, but it doesn't. But it's fine. So again, I want to go over why I like Longshot. I like the fact that you can just remove all the buffs on the SP2. He's a mystic that is good for like burst fighting. Not many of the mystics are great for like short content. They finally have like Tigra and stuff now who are better for short fights. But for a while, all they really had was like Doom and hope you kind of crit, something like that. They didn't have any great like burst damage champions, but Longshot has a very easy access to burst damage. Just get to SP2, you have increased power gain, you have Mystic Dispersion to get there. Longshot's actually one of the few Mystic champions that people prefer without Mystic Dispersion, and some people even say that having his Sig is detrimental to him because he can remove the buffs before you use your special attack 2, which can be a problem if you're trying to really cheese out the fight, but I like it because you can remove some nasty effects like the Unstoppable and the Unblockable, and you gain them back yourself, or like you're against a Hyperion and you want to control his power gain better. You're in Abyss and you need to remove buffs more frequently than you can with your SP2. Having his Sig can really add just a little bit of extra spice to his Nullify. So I do like his dupe. This is about where I'm just going to cut the clip here for this one. Clearly he works for Do You Bleed. So I wanted to see how much I could get done in Abyss. So I ended up going with this Mutant Crit Team mixed in with Rogue, because his Incinerate damage is affected by his crit damage, and I was noticing it affects it more when it's by crit damage rather than Fury or just base attack rating. So I went for the Crit Team plus Rogue, who the Rogue is the one that gives it extra Incinerate procs, and I'm actually able to get off a very big chunk. I wasn't able to get off as much as I could. If I had a rank 3 with like suicides and boosts, I think you might be able to solo Abyss Iron Man. But I did not solo him. I don't even get him to half. I just ended up not playing the best. I was doing a lot of like Christmas shopping and holiday setup and stuff this past week, and so I just didn't quite have the time to feel like where I could practice the fight and get the spacing down consistently enough to like not get hit. Right, like in the beginning of this fight also I had a lot of like lag, I think. Like that one I thought I had a re-parry and then like it goes through my block, which I'm sure I messed up somewhere on it, but I did feel like I had it. And I know towards the end of this fight it happens a couple more times where it's like I feel like I have something and it doesn't happen. So one part about this fight in particular was when I did my first Abyss Path, I used Ghost, Ant-Man, Longshot, Nick Fury, and Torch. I did not have an Aegon or a Doom, so I used Longshot, and I didn't have a Symbiote Supreme either. So I used Longshot for my Mystic, and I used Torch for the first like 80% of Iron Man Infinity War, and then I used my Longshot to finish him off because I was able to keep off his armor, which the armor when you're in the last phase counts for his power gain. And so again, this all plays in with it. When you have the bad karma on them, like watch this one, so I'm going to have 3 bad karma when he's going to power drain 1.5 bars of power. Watch how much power I'm going to get back from this. I get back a full bar of power after I have my power bar drained. So it allows for a lot more specials in the tech fight than most champions can get unless you're like Magneto or someone with a lot of armor breaks. So I really enjoyed using Longshot for this fight on the first path, so I wanted to highlight it here, that Longshot can do a lot of work in Abyss. Like, 1 revive for Iron Man Infinity War for an R5 is very, very achievable in my opinion. I just kind of wasn't playing the best, like 2 revives, let's say, if I were to do an actual run of Abyss. Like, that is not bad with Longshot for a champion that is kind of notoriously hard. And so here I throw the special. I don't have the Cure of Heart, so I don't trigger it upon throwing it, which is fine, because it technically, but the Incinerate is also paused during your special attack, which is very nice. So here, this is one of my better runs. You want to have it where you get the timing so you can have the Incinerate cover the armor up buff at one point. So you can get an extra rotation in, and so you can get more specials in beforehand, because the Incinerate lasts ever so slightly shorter than the armor buff if you didn't notice. It's very, very tight, and it's kind of frustrating when like you have like 1 hit left. So here, I want to try to use my Power Steal on a medium to get over a special bar and then throw it. And right, you can see how big of a difference this Rogue makes. I think I show a secondary clip of Iron Man Infinity War without Rogue. It doesn't go as well. It just does not go well in that clip. But this Iron Man Infinity War is a very tricky fight if you've ever run Abyss. The power gain he gets from the tech node in Abyss itself is very frustrating because it gives him a lot of specials. His specials aren't the hardest to individually dex, but when you're on like the 50th special of the fight, it's a lot to dex. So with Longshot, you're able to get some of the power back that you lose, which is really nice. You're able to not control his power, but because you remove the armor up buff for like half the fight basically, you're able to have to deal with the power steal a lot less often, which I personally enjoyed. So I throw the special one there to dump some power, get bad karma on him. The biggest part is keeping up your Pure of Heart, because a big damage source for Longshot is if you can get your Pure of Heart to end during the Incinerate phase. The Incinerate phase, or not the Incinerate phase, when Pure of Heart ends, it puts all good karma into bad karma. So if you're able to time those at the same time, it makes it so that way you put 5 extra bad karma on them, which turns into 5 Incinerates. Like here, I'm actually going to get it. So I get 3, which is an extra like 8k damage or something just by not having to dex. So this fight, the biggest issue becomes chip damage, and if you make a single mistake, and if you like crits and stuff, the chip damage starts to become too much, which is a bit annoying, but it's what it is. It's a long fight for like any champion outside of like Torch. Torch can make this fight go fairly quickly because of these smolders, but Longshot, I feel like Longshot does a fairly good job, right? Like, I'm still at 15%, I have him down at 65%, and I still have 70 charges left. And in just a second here, I'm just going to eat a heavy, I think. I miss space it, and so I eat a heavy. Like, that? Oh, it's not there. I thought it would have happened by now. My bad. But yeah, the spacing, if he decides to be very heavy friendly instead of very reparry friendly, can be very, very frustrating. Ah, here it is, he auto blocks. But he doesn't come in, which is really nice. So right, I'm able to get him down to 60%. I still have 50 charges left. He went in to fight me, cowered a couple times, so I even wasted a couple charges. If you have a good... Oh, I misspaced the heavy. If you have a good AI, I think you can get off a lot of damage. So, in this one, I'm running the full mutant crit team, but that is not what I wanted to show in this one. I feel like a lot of YouTubers, when they make a video on a champion that they like, because I will admit, I like playing with Longshot, he's fun. When they make a video on a champion that they like, they only show the best of the best clips, right? Like, they'll show Longshot against Resistor, which it may or may not be coming up soon. Right, you'll show like Longshot against Resistor or something like that he can cheese. You don't show what happens when the fight goes poorly always, I feel like. So I wanted to show that. So, do I get off an SP2 here? I do. So right, it does a fair bit less damage, even though I have an extra crit synergy. So it does more damage on its own, but it does less damage in total. So this fight's not going to go on for much longer. If you can see an issue that's going to come up in just a second, I think. I feel like it comes up soon. I'm watching this back, so I don't remember it like perfectly. But I know how this fight ends, because... So right, I was showing in the previous one how a good part of what Longshot can do is he gains back about half of the power that you lose in this fight if you maintain your good karma well, or your bad karma. If you keep your bad karma high, you gain back power. So I make a very, very bad error here. I still haven't done it. Maybe this one was just... Actually, maybe this clip is just to show that... But yeah, the damage is very good on Longshot, right? Like, it's 6k a second per bad karma. Right, yeah, because it gets off 2 ticks per bad karma. Ah, here it is. And special 3. I think. No? Why do I keep thinking he's gonna special 3 me in the face? I feel like I'm just gonna get special 3 here. I don't know why. Maybe this one was just to show it without Rogue and to show the damage difference. Yeah, I guess that must have been what it was for. Oh, no, never mind. I see it on the timeline now. So yeah, this is to show that while he has the power steal, he does not have power control, and his Nullify isn't the best Nullify for a Mystic. He's not your Mystic's Mystic. He needs to be able to Incinerate, to Fate Seal. He needs to be able to, like, heavy spam. He has to do all that stuff. He is not your standard Mystic, is all I'm trying to get at. He doesn't have a form of power control. He has power steal, but I go in and SP3. So stuff like that can easily happen if you're trying to go for a fight like this. Now, here is Longshot in his best content in the game. This is probably his best path. I don't know if there's a better path that I'm not thinking of. Stuff like Power Shield, he also cheeses because the Incinerate that you start with, the one like right as the special hits, it gets affected by the Power Shield special mode, so it's kind of nice. So this path is kind of what made him famous. I think it was like Legacy. I think it was Legacy that did this, where he brought Longshot on this path, and right, they have 10 buffs. Black Bolt himself has buffs, and I brought Rogue for this, I think. Yes, I did bring Rogue for this. So I'm also gaining extra. I'm literally gaining so many every time I hit him. I'm gaining a bad karma per hit of the heavy. I'm putting on a debuff or a buff, and then if you crit, Black Bolt also gains another buff. So I could be putting on 3 buffs in a single heavy, plus Rogue synergy itself. It's a lot. And then I have a bit of a crit damage synergy going on, so I gain extra, and I have class advantage here, so the Incinerates themselves are also just doing a lot. So right, he's a very simple champion. You're not really going to be using him for any like super complex content, but he does have a couple more tricks up his sleeve than I think people want to give him credit for, like the throwing it into their block, And right, like, just look at this damage that he can put out. He's not like the most complicated champion, he's not the best champion. If you need power control, you're not going to use him. If you need an early, consistent nullify, you're not going to use him. You're going to use Doom or something like that, right? But the damage itself is just a lot. He pumps out damage, and he doesn't care what you think about it. So I'm just showing the synergies here. I do 3 different setup teams. I do the mutant crit team, so Mags, Storm, Cyclops. Oh no, mutant crit team plus Rogue for the double incinerate. Then I'm going to use the Fury team, which is Falcon, Cole Obsidian, Maw, Cole Obsidian. And then I'm going to do one which is just going to be Longshot himself. Finally turning on Do Not Disturb while recording, probably a smart move that I should try to maintain. So I'm not gonna show like the full fight against Winter Soldier. I don't even do a full fight. I go in, I do a single special 3 or a single special 2, and I let my good karma at 5 fall off. So right, takes him down to 87%, and now I'm just gonna sit back, wait for it to go off. It brings him down to 78% health. So I believe that is the highest damage one that I got. 78%, so that it's not too bad, you know? It's not bad. So now, oh, I do go in with full mutant crit team as well. I didn't realize I did that. Yeah, I spent like 10 minutes or something going at this, I edited it down a bit, and I sped up a lot of the fights if you couldn't tell, or else this video is going to be super long. It's already a fairly long video, which is going to be the second one of the day. It took a long time editing all of this and stuff. Just trying to get a bit better at the editing side. So here it comes again. It does a little bit more damage per tick. I think it does like an extra 100 damage or so. But right, the previous one ended at 78, and this one ends at 82. So it's a 4% damage difference for having Rogue with the doubling the incinerates. So it is actually a sizable difference to bring her over Wolverine, is what I found. The next one is going to be the Fury synergy. So yeah, I just swap in Magneto, Cole, Maw, 5-star Cole. I was trying to see if I could find him anywhere else, could not. So I bring in Cole Obsidian, and so it's 9% per person on the team. So it's a fair few, if we're being honest here. It's 27% extra attack rating, which is quite a lot. So his base damage will do more, but his incinerates do slightly less. I remember when he first came out, people were saying he needs suicides for the extra base damage, kind of like Ghost and stuff. But the crit damage is actually a lot more important, because right, see, he only made it up to 89%. So this one takes a bit longer, because I wanted to make the testing even, and all of them had a full SP2 and stuff, and I really messed up, which is a bit unfortunate. So I just restarted, right? It's nothing too crazy to have to go back in. He has fast power gain. So the video is almost over. There's only like a minute or 2 left. So while we're getting back up to his special 2, I'll just talk for a second. So I'll just do like part of the outro. So thank you guys a lot for watching. Again, on the last video and this one, I'm trying to like incorporate a little bit more editing into my video style, putting some overlays like the intro I have at this one. If you guys can give me any feedback, I'd greatly appreciate it. Okay, and so the first one is 78, and then it was 82, and now it's 85. So right, each time it went down in damage. And the final one, of course, is going to go down in damage. I'm going to do a synergyless special 2 and bad karma transfer. It does a lot less. But Longshot doesn't need a single synergy. The Rogue one, apparently, I didn't realize it was there for a long time. I didn't realize it was that good. I don't know how I didn't realize that. He does not need a single synergy to be played. He does not need a single boost, single suicide, recoil, nothing. His damage is still great by itself, but he gets extra benefits from stuff like suicides and some damage synergies, but you can just slap him in any team. So that'll just about do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching a ton, and again, please let me know if like the editing looks okay and stuff. I'm trying to figure all this out at the same time. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.